students, our chapter is chapter 16, square root, part 2. At the end of this video, students will be able to 1. Perform product and quotient on expressions containing radicals. 2. Simplify expressions with radicals. Please students, prepare these materials. Perform product on expressions containing radicals. Let A, B and C be three positive numbers. D and E are any two numbers. Then, the first rule, radical A times B, this is equal to radical A times radical B, and D radical B times E radical C equal D times E radical B times C. This means that we multiply number by number and the radical by radical. So we get D times E radical B times C. Remark, D times radical B is written D radical B. Example, perform and simplify the following expressions. 1. Radical 3 to the power 2 times 2 to the power 2. This is equal radical 3 to the power 2 times radical 2 to the power 2. Apply this rule. Radical A times B equal radical A times radical B. So we get radical 3 power 2 is 3 times radical 2 to the power 2 is 2. So the final answer is 6. 2. Radical 3 times 2 times 2 to the power 6. This is equal radical 3 times 2 alone, because we do not have powers on 3 and 2, and this means the power is only 1, times radical 2 to the power 6 is written as 2 to the power 3, all of it to the power 2. So we get 2 to the power 3 times radical 6. The radical 6 comes from radical 3 times 2. 2 to the power 3 is equal to 8. So the final answer is 8 radical 6. 3. Minus 7 radical 3 times 2 radical 5. We multiply minus 7 times 2 times radical 3 times 5. So we get minus 7 times 2 radical 3 times 5. This is equal minus 14 radical 15. Remark, to simplify radical A, we can use the prime factorization of A. Example, radical 12 is equal to radical 2 square times 3, which is equal to radical 3. Application. Perform and simplify the following expressions. Please students, pause this video and try to solve this application. Solution. Number 1. Radical 4 square times 7 square. This is equal radical 4 square times radical 7 square, which is equal to 4 times 7, which is equal to 28. Number 2, radical 6 times 5 times 3 to the power 4. This is equal radical 6 times 5 alone times radical 3 to the power 4 alone. So this is equal radical 30 times here 3 to the power 4. We can write it 3 to the power 2, all of it to the power 2. And this is equal to radical 3 times 3 square, and the final answer is 9 radical 30. Number 3, 4 radical 7 times 3 radical 2, this is equal 4 times 3, we multiply it, and radical 7 times radical 2, it becomes radical 7 times 2, and the final answer is 12 radical 14. Quotients of radicals. Perform quotient on expressions containing radicals. Let A and B be two positive numbers. Then radical A over B, this is equal to radical A over radical B, where B doesn't equal to 0. Example, simplify the following expressions. Number 1, radical 25 over 81, this is equal to radical 25 over radical 81, and this is equal to 5 over 9. Number 2, radical 0.9 over 0.4, this is equal first radical 9 times 10 to the power minus 1 over 4 times 10 to the power minus 1. By simplifying we get radical 9 over 4, and this is equal to radical 9 over radical 4, which is equal to 3 over 2. Application, simplify the following expressions. Please students, pause this video and try to solve this application. Solution. Number 1, radical 49 over 36, this is equal to radical 49 over radical 36, which is equal to 7 over 6. Number 2, radical 0.125 over 0.005, this is equal first to radical 125 times 10 to the power minus 3 over 5 times 10 to the power minus 3. By simplifying we get radical 125 over 5. This is equal radical 125 over radical 5, which is equal radical by using prime factorization 5 squared times 5 over radical 5, which is equal to 5 radical 5 over radical 5, and the final answer is 5. Assignment. Review from the textbook, pages 182-183, edition 2017. Your homework from the textbook, exercises 10, parts ACE, 11 parts A and D, pages 188 and 189, edition 2017. Summary. We have seen from the previous video the definition of a square root of a positive number, and if A is negative, then A has no square root. We have seen how to find the positive square root of a positive number using calculator. Now if A and B are positive numbers, C and D are any numbers, then we have seen in this video how to perform product, quotient, addition and subtraction on expressions containing radicals. We have seen radical A times B is equal radical A times radical B, C radical A times D radical B, this is equal C times D radical A times B, and radical A over B, this is equal radical A over radical B, where B is different from 0. Thank you students for watching this video.